Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
All right. Happy Monday to all of you who are tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
And we thank you so much, those of you who helped to sponsor this program. And for those of you who are considering, please make your check or money order out to Hood Research. If you prefer, you could make it out to WHPR. We have no objection to that. But we do ask that you mail it to Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. Again, that's Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. We have a full studio audience this morning. And, it's either feast or famine around here. But for our first guest this morning, we are going to talk about women who have loved ones incarcerated. And we have with us Marilyn Jordan and Tawana Morris. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, who wants to start first to tell us about the program that's coming up this weekend?
Well, the Detroit People's Task Force, who seeks to free the wrongly convicted, and we are prison advocates, are having an event at Dabo on the 28th this Saturday. And our focus is for the family at large and the community at large, but this particular event is for the women of incarcerated loved ones. A lot of times when we have our loved ones go to prison or lose our loved ones as well, we're also focusing in on those that have lost their loved ones through violence or whatever the issue may be. The absentee of a loved one. When it happens, a lot of times you find yourself looking from the outside in, such as I did. When my son got involved into the criminal justice system, I knew not where to go. The first thing that I done was pick up the phone and call loved ones that could offer some information, but I had never encountered that situation before. So we called the most expensive attorney and, just the whole process of it. You find yourself not knowing what to do, what resources that are available to you, and not to have the trials and errors that other people have made, such as the wrong attorney, and also, just being able to have the support in court, just everything that's available to you out there when you are interacting with the justice system.
So your organization has a list of attorneys to refer families to?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the process that one has to go through, is it long, drawn out? Do you find that the prosecutors office is not seeking justice. They're just seeking incarceration.
Well, I'm going to let Tawana chime in on that too, but I will say that the prosecutors are out to do their job. And the prison system shows it. I mean, when you look at the mass incarceration of individuals in the United States, it shows that we have a problem. Not saying that a lot of the prisoners are not wrongly convicted, but we do know that that's a process that has been happening from the beginning of slavery.
Well, some have been wrongly convicted.
Definitely.
And the prosecutor's office is out to do a job.
Do a job.
Tawana Morris?
Yes, I'd like to chime in. Thank you. It's also our defense attorneys. We pay, taxpayers pay a lot of money for the process for us to have an attorney.
You mean
But
court-appointed attorneys? That's what you're talking
Court-appointed,
about.
thank you. The court-appointed attorneys, for those who cannot afford an attorney, they should have the same rights as a paid attorney, and they should go and handle the situation as if they were a paid attorney.
Exactly.
And the thing is, they're so overloaded, they don't really have the right, the amount of money to fight a case for a wrongly convicted person, or if the person was convicted, they still have a right for representation. They don't have it right now. And a lot of times what today's buzz is, they're going to plead, a cop a plea, and they tell the people, okay, if you do this, then we can get this. But then when they go on record, the person has to plead not guilty in order to get some sort of deal.
And we have seen this, if I can intervene here.
Wait. They have to plead not guilty, or they have to plead guilty?
Excuse me,
They have to
correction.
plead
Thank you for
guilty.
correcting me. They have to
Yeah,
plead.
guilty.
Most of the time, they are advised to plead guilty.
Because
Right.
Michigan is a cop state.
And some of the judges are not the best judges. And this is election time, people. And if you don't like a judge, and the judge is not doing right and just doing blatantly wrong, you need to report it to the tenure committee as well as to the chief judge of whatever area you're in.
That's known as the Judicial Tenure Commission.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
One of the things that we do need is court watchers.
Yes.
Thank you.
We've
Yes.
not had court watchers in some time. And during the time that we had court watchers, we found that there were opportunities for the people to report the kind of injustices that were carried out by the judges. All judges are not fair judges.
Thank you, Theo.
I would even have to commend Judge Deborah Thomas when the task force originally started up. She was in the process of establishing jury of our peers, because also we don't have a lot of black African Americans that actually participate as jurors. Because I mean, when you think about it, how many of us actually can afford to take the time off of work to sit in on a jury case? So they come from across 8 Mile, or shall I say today, they just live right downtown. So,
Well, I think that one of the things that's needed is some research into the jury pool. I know that Deborah Thomas found that as a judge, it was necessary for her to investigate how people were being pushed out.
correct.
And
Suppression.
Oh yes, it was almost 1 million people. But in the meantime, for those residents who are in the community, they need to participate with that.
Yes.
There needs to be research in how the employer handles it. Now, there are some employers who give you your pay. They know they have to allow you to do jury duty, okay? And they will continue to have you on the payroll. That's in addition to the check that is issued you by the court. There are other employers who will say, you must turn in your check from the court in order to get any money from me.
Absolutely.
Which they're two separate
Yes.
processes
Entities,
that are
yes, yes.
And I think that is wrong.
I do too as well. Speaking of Judge Deborah Thomas, she will be our speaker, one of our speakers at the event, along with Diane Bukowski. And I think we did have Elena Horado, but I think she had to cancel out. And the mothers from within the community. No words can come such as a greater impact than the ones who have experienced it themselves. So it is a 2-hour event, and it is free, and food will be served, and certainly you will be lifted.
Okay.
I'll also be there as well, and I support Marilyn for her courage to come out and speak about issues. Please come out, everybody. We need you. We need to hear your voices. I'm your 13th District State Representative for the Democratic Party. I am boisterous. I'm standing next to Marilyn, and I'm standing with Marilyn. I'm sure, Theo, you're going to be there too.
Yes, she is.
Now, this weekend, which is April
The 28th.
April the 28th, Saturday, April the 28th.
From 5
5
8 p.m.
p.m. until 8 p.m.
Do you
Correct?
have a phone number?
Yes.
Wait. The location,
It's the Dabo Center on
Okay.
Grand River in Wyoming,
okay.
12048, Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming.
Correct.
Okay.
England.
Okay. Now, phone number you
And
were
the
about to
contact
say.
number is 313-784-4021.
Okay. Now, tell us finally, what does the organization do?
The Detroit People's Task Force serves as an advocate for prisoners' rights, and we seek to free the wrongly convicted. As we know, we were organized in 2008, citing the issues of the crime lab. We petitioned to separate the crime lab from the police department, and we were one of the first groups to do that when the crime lab broke. So along with that came the rape cases with Kim Worthy. So it kind of got like swept under the blanket, sort of to say, and with the change of administration in the city, the cases went cold. But Valerie Newman has established a new crime unit, as Kim Worthy has appointed her to. And she's working downtown, serving as an advocate for prisoners alongside of the Innocent Project. So for those who have cases, the crime lab cases, and I don't have contact with you, I know it was quite a few families back then. And I'm not quite sure how many is being released at this particular point. I have been into conversation with Valerie here and there, and they are working on cases, but as far as who will be released or has anyone been released, I'm not sure yet. But I will get that information and keep everyone updated.
Well, we have had Bill Proctor on. He's working with, is it the Innocence?
And Scott Lewis, too.
And Scott, right, and Scott, we haven't had him on, but we intend to have him on as well, because we do know that there are a number of the people in our community have been wrongly accused. And I'm glad that you have your organization going on the behalf of the families in this community, because everybody suffers.
Yes, they do.
Not just the one who was incarcerated, but their family members and the families of the person who was the victim as well. So I just want to let everybody know that this coming Saturday, April the 28th, 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. at the Dabo Center, 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming, is an opportunity for all of you who are tuned in to share the information with others and to come out and support this effort. And I want to thank you very much, Ms. Marilyn Jordan.
Thank you
and
for
Mr.
having us.
Juana Morris.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And we will be back momentarily. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and we are moving right along this morning with information for you. We have with us now Beverly Kendall Walker and Keith Hines from Diamond 2 Productions, and one of the lifetime members of Hood Research, as a matter of fact. I want to say good morning to you, and of course the two of you are involved with the city airport and keeping it viable. And I hope we get back to the point where we can have Southwest Airlines flying over there. I really liked going to the city airport, flying out with, just to go to California. Oh, it was so wonderful. Anyway, the Tuskegee Airmen have something planned. And it seems that the mayor of the city of Detroit is trying to throw cold water on anything that goes on at the city airport. Tell us the latest information and if there's anything we can do about it.
Well, good morning and happy Monday to you. And
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having us. Colonel Milburn was the planned guest to be with you today, but apparently he's not able to be here, as well as Mr. Alfonso King, who normally sits in with you guys. But just to bring you up to date, the mayor had a study put out to evaluate what they call repurposing, or the best use for that land. And this study was conducted last year, and it was delayed in getting revealed to the public. And we find out the reason for the delay was it had to be reformatted to present a light that was more desirable for repurposing that particular space. So in other words, the study was misconstrued to support repurposing it, when in fact it supported investing into it as a city airport.
Keep the main thing the main thing. The city
Amen.
airport is an airport.
Precisely.
Uh-huh.
And so
That's slightly, you
by
mean
about
he,
22 pages.
You mean, oh God. 22 pages. You
Amen.
mean he just flat out lied? That's what he did.
Well, they
That was,
reformatted it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's another way of saying alternative facts.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Okay.
But the data does not support repurposing it to anything other than an airport.
Right. Okay, therefore,
So therefore, we are in a position where there's two more phases of this study that's supposed to come out. But City Council was 100% in support of it maintained as an airport. So he does not have the support to go further with another study. But if that's what he thinks he needs to have is more data, then get more data, but it's going to support maintained as an airport. There's too many people who use that airport, and not just the rich people. It's used for medical reasons, for just-in-time deliveries, and then people who travel back and forth for their businesses, the tech center, TACON, all of that, as well as people who entertainers who come into our city for various events, while their cargo and their sets fly into Willow Run. The entertainers themselves, for the most part, fly into City Airport. So we have huge followings of people, fans, folks who come in to gamble, you know. So it's not just for the business folks who need to travel quickly and their corporate jets are there. It's really a needed airport. Even in terms of homeland security, it's needed because we have a border right here, international border, that needs to be protected.
Right.
The city airport is the first eyes on anything that's below 3,000 feet. Metro takes everything above, but City of Detroit Airport takes care of 3,000 and below.
Oh, okay.
So you need to be able to quickly see what's coming.
Right, right. Well, the other
It's
thing,
an important player in the it's an important player in the aviation communications network.
well, my understanding is for emergency landings, they cannot shut down the city airport. And to think about having go-karts on the runway is an insult to the citizens in the city of Detroit.
Right.
And for them to use it for their little private fundraisers. Something was held over there, a couple of weeks ago?
United Foundation.
Yeah.
Well, they pay big money to have that fundraiser, so it is available for events. The hangars are, but the runways themselves should not be used for drag
racing.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
But the FAA
Absolutely
does
not.
allow 4 events. So that is allowable, but to turn it to totally repurpose it, that's not, FAA does not support that.
Right.
It would take the city of Detroit a number of years to facilitate any kind of closure. Should that happen? So anybody who's ready for a shovel-ready land, that is not the shovel-ready land.
Okay. Now, you were going to say something else, Keith?
No, that was the main thing. You know, the city airport plays a very important and vital role in communications. You know, it's not just a place to land. It's also part of the network set up by the federal government. So you can't just take it out. The mayor cannot override the FAA.
He just thinks he can. And he took a trip down to D.C. to meet with the president, I guess, to try and get his backing on some of the things that he's doing here. But we're still waiting for the demolition report to come out. I understand that Charlie LaDuff has written a book on it. And the investigation of the demolition schemes and scams that have taken place in Detroit has gone on longer than the other investigations that are going on in D.C. So you got to begin to wonder, what is in that report that is being stifled, being held up, being hidden?
Reformatted.
Right. I like that. Reformatted. Oh, my goodness. Now, tell us about the event that's coming up.
And so to that end, the City of Detroit's airport department is very much engaged in the community. This will be our 90th year of having a continuous operating city airport. And so because it's named after Coleman Alexander Young, who would have been 100 years old May the 24th, and because the City of Detroit does recognize and appreciate all the hard work that the mayor put into that airport, that was his love, that was his real heart, was being a Tuskegee Airman, and the city airport.
Wow.
And so he also believed in the education that our young people could receive from being connected to the aviation department. And so I was one of the second women who was appointed to be part of the airport commission. Back in those days, all departments, city departments had commissions. And so Miss Ernestine Gordon was the first, and I was the second. And so I've been connected since 1990 when she founded the Friends of Detroit City Airport, because the mayor needed an advocacy group that could support him against the suburban areas who was opposed to the city airport. And so we were founded, and with his blessings, and so we have continued to advocate for and present to the community opportunities for young people to engage in the aviation field. So to that end, we're going to celebrate his legacy in the 90 years of continuous operation. So that would be May the 23rd and 24th of this year. As I said, his birthday would have been May the 24th, 100 years.
Oh, yeah.
And this is also another significant year for a 100-year celebration, in that Nelson Mandela would have been 100 on July the 18th.
Wow.
And so we also cultivate and celebrate that relationship that Mayor Young had with
Nelson
Mandela. So these are opportunities that we need to make sure our young people are aware of, and they can persevere, because Nelson Mandela said, make a difference where you are in your community. Don't celebrate him. Celebrate what you can do in your community. And so certainly we know that Mayor Young was a big advocate for the city of Detroit, and we want to make sure that legacy is known and continued. And so young people have the opportunity to get into the field of aviation. We have been struggling for the last 5 years, as you well know, with Colonel Milburn, in making sure that that school is returned to its glamour, its glory days of turning out products that the aviation industry was looking for. Boeing's, Lockheed, all of those places are still looking for young people who came out of Detroit, were able to graduate right into their jobs.
Right.
So we want to restore that, and so that's what we're about the business of doing that.
Okay. You have a contact number for people who are interested in participating, in joining and supporting, etc.?
Yes. So the number is 313-822-2237. And so
again.
313-822-2237.
Okay.
So we're the Friends of Detroit City Airport, and the events were May the 23rd, which is a paid event of $100 per person. But the free event on his actual birthday is the next day, Thursday, at the airport. Both of these events will be at City Airport, and that's free. And we intend to have all the things that Mayor Young liked, the foods that he liked to eat. We're not short-stopping on the food that he liked to eat. Certainly a huge birthday cake. But Wendell Harrison, the award-winning jazz, he's going to be our musical education entertainment on Wednesday night at the Red Carpet event. So we're looking forward to raising funds, raising awareness, because we are building a building at City Airport, and we need to add a hangar to the building. We have a donor who gave us $975,000 toward that building, but we need a little bit more to build a hangar. So that's what we're going to do.
The study for the students. Well, that's wonderful. I want to thank you, Beverly Kendall Walker and Keith Hines, for joining us this morning to talk about such an important event. And we will be covering it again before the 23rd.
Bless your heart.
So that we can make sure that people know. And give the number once again, please. Contact.
313-822-2237. And I'll give you my cell number. It's 313-618-9749. That's 618-9749. Follow me on my Facebook page, Beverly Kendall Walker, and I have lots of information there. And Friends of Detroit City Airport.com.
All right.
I mean, .org. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I thank Keith as well for contacting you again.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for
And we're going to take a break and go to our next guest. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback. All right, we are all the way live. And as my grandchildren taught me, happy birthday from all of me to you. Oh, I wish it was my birthday so I could party too. Anyway, thank you all for staying tuned. We now have our third guest, as I always say, is either feast or famine around here. And today we had a big feast with guest after guest after guest. And now we have someone you are familiar with, Ms. Deetta Wilcoxon. Well, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, yes, and it's always good for us to have a political scientist with us.
You better check with Reggie Amos.
Oh, please don't say that name on my show, mother. Anyway, you have all of the credentials necessary to fill the bill, as they say.
The University of Detroit thinks so.
I know
so
that's
do
right.
a couple few colleges.
Hey, and where you? Oh yeah. She was a professor. She was in the law department for the well-respected mayor of the city of Detroit, Coleman Alexander Young.
That's correct.
That's right. And work with Irma Henderson, too.
Absolutely. Grew up on her political knee.
Hey, all right. So anybody who didn't know, you know now. In the meantime, and in between time, and we got fun. In Washington, D.C., there's something terrible going on. This review commission is turning back the hands of time. They're only required to go back 6 months. But the Republicans, as I guess along with the President of the United States feel that they don't have to follow any rules. And they have repealed the one of the things that have been a benefit to the people of color, as they like to say, black folk in the United States. And that was these companies that want to give a higher interest rate when black people are purchasing vehicles, etc.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is the bureau that you're referencing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. The president is of the opinion that he should have his director of the Consumer Financial Protection industry, and the sitting director was of the opinion that despite the fact that she was a holdover from the Barack Obama administration, she was rightfully in place. So they started out fighting. As you well know, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau came into being as a result of the housing market crash in 2008. It resulted out of the Dodd-Frank bill. And it was basically the government's watchdog in terms of trying to make certain that the subprime loans that you referenced and the exorbitant interest rates that were charged to minority communities in a discretionary fashion were not allowed to continue. So it was doing really good work. I've actually had some personal dealings with it myself through my senator, Debbie Stabenow's office, and I found them very forthcoming and very investigative, and I found that the people that I contacted in the mortgage industry, and I contacted a whole lot of them, got back with me, and they were making certain that they dotted all of their I's and crossed all of their T's, and I'm certain that they would not have done that had there not been an oversight board looking at them. One of the complaints that I had is the fact that, and I'm sure that homeowners across the state of Michigan, across the country, are familiar with this problem as well, is that every month or so you have a new servicer of your loan. Your servicer changes so rapidly, it's unbelievable. So for a few months you're mailing your mortgage note to Texas, and then the next few months you're mailing it out to South Dakota, and the next few months you're sending it to Washington. And these people have the ability to make very drastic and draconian kinds of decisions about your mortgage, and then they're not held accountable.
And that's how the paperwork gets lost.
Exactly. So what I said to Senator Stabenow's office is I was granted a $30,000 award through Step Forward Michigan before the Duggan administration went to Washington and persuaded Washington that they should convert those monies to demolition when they were actually used for the purposes that President Obama installed them, which was to help homeowners to stay in their homes. If people were behind on their mortgage, if they were having problems, if they were able to refinance their loans, in a lot of instances they could tap into that pot of money, which came through the TARP fund. I refinanced my mortgage after paying the bankruptcy court over $10,000 to set everything in correct positioning, and the monies were awarded to me, and the servicer said, oh no, we're not going to accept those monies. And I said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be a representative of me. You're servicing my loan only because you're paid out of my loan proceeds to service, quote unquote, service my loan. So I've been in a personal tug of war with them, and I'm still in that same tug of war because, as I said to the senator's office, no independent body should be able to make a decision for the person who's actually paying the mortgage and have no responsibility, no accountability, no transparency to that person. And the federal government ought not to set up agencies along that line. So I called them on the carpet, but I would not have been able to do that as successfully as I have been able to do were it not for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Yeah. But what the sad thing about that bureau, if they are reviewing loans, they meaning the Republican committee, and they can go back. The requirement is 6 months. But now if they can go back farther, what's to say they won't get to 1965 and cancel out what President Johnson did, voting rights?
There is there's an onslaught of attacks against everything that President Johnson was able to establish and to codify, memorialize, if you will, into law. There's an affront to everything that made America truly great. There's an affront on all of those measures by the Trump administration, which is very unfortunate, because what we were able to see with the Voting Rights Act, the Housing Act, and the Civil Rights Act, we were able to see through those acts the very best that America was. So if we ever want to look at making America great again, we want to go back to that period in time, not to go forward and say we're going to take away everything that made America more diverse, more inclusive, and say that we want to make America great again in the estimation of white supremacists only, which is the articulated position of the president, although he never uses that phraseology. So I refuse to refer to the president as anything other than the president. He is in that office, rightfully or wrongfully, legally or illegally. He holds the office of president. So I give the office itself the respect I think that it deserves, but I am not nearly in favor of the efforts of the Trump administration to turn back the hands of time in America to a period wherein we experienced, as not only a people but as a country, some of the darkest times in this country's history. And President Lyndon Baines Johnson, and you all know that I covered him extensively in the Renaissance Observer. In fact, I compared his tenure as president to what Governor Snyder is doing in the state of Michigan. I brought it home. But the point of the matter is, President Lyndon Baines Johnson was of the opinion that what African Americans in America were experiencing was not an African American problem or a black problem or a Negro problem. It was an American problem. He touted the fact that this was an American problem. He had the political backbone, the spine, to be able to stand up and say to America, look in this mirror and tell me what you see. And America could not tell the rest of the world that she was one of the greatest democracies, inclusive and about a representative form of government, when she castigated her largest quote-unquote minority. So President Johnson attacked that front and center, and President Trump, in my estimation, and I think history will bear me out, is attacking the very fabric of what made us great, and his presidency, in my estimation, will be marked by the fact that he was not inclusive, that he was not fair, that he was not about ensuring that diversity was a good part of our democracy. So he's going to have history to confront, if nothing else.
Yeah, right. Well, he certainly is holding the presidency hostage. The one thing that would have been helpful when Johnson was president was to work to have the school books more accurate. The school books do not tell American history. They tell white history. As they say, your history, his history. They don't have our history in there. Even when I was in school, I remember the information about Elijah McCoy, but there was never any picture so that you could know that it was a black man who invented, the mechanism so that trains could go farther, faster, and there was a figure that we had, Thabiti, coming forward with the 450,000 votes that had been suppressed. So there's a lot of skullduggery that is going on. But I want to move to the state of Michigan. I was told that the governor has stopped the good time for inmates. And my understanding of it is, if you have, I don't know, whatever number, say 5 years, and for good time you may end up with 4.5 years or 4 years or something. But I'm told that Snyder has stopped that.
Well, that is going to be a history aspect of Governor Snyder's tenure as governor of the state of Michigan that, in my estimation, is going to be very dark. The rest of the country has moved for a number of years now to provide good time service. There are only 3 states who currently have not fully enacted good time behavioral service rewards, and that's Montana, South Dakota, and Michigan. And Michigan was looking at legislation as far back as 2015, trying to codify the fact that we are not a state of retribution, but we are a state of rehabilitation. And the governor of our state seems to be saying that retribution really is the order of the day. And anytime you try to take your frustration and your anger out on people, despite the fact that they try to turn their lives around, I think speaks poorly of you, not only as a person, but as a politician who is making policy decisions that are far-ranging. When we look at the good time statutes that have been looked at, examined in the state of Michigan, we're looking at every month giving a person 4 or 5 days that would be taken away from the ultimate term that they serve as an incarcerated being. I don't think that anybody in any society can ask you to do anything other than to better yourself, to become a better person. And if you are becoming a better person, there ought to be some reward for that. And in the event that there isn't, of course, the reverse could very easily be true. You could say to yourself, be good for what? Go back out on the outside and not rape, rob, or pillage for what? Because I didn't receive any compensation for being a good person, so why not just do the same thing that I've always done? We always have used good time behavior in the other states as an incentive for people to become better people and to become contributors to society. So Michigan has missed the mark again, and I think under Republican administrations what we've been able to see in the state of Michigan is that this has become one of the most backward states in the country. Our 3rd and 4th graders cannot read, they cannot add, subtract, or multiply, and what we're going to see is that we have less of an ability than we do now to attract talent. That's what Amazon told us. We are not coming to Michigan. Many say that it was transportation. It was not. It was the fact that we did not have a talent pool here to sustain a mega billion-dollar corporation of that order. So we have to get our priorities in order, and we have to understand that if we're going to be a better state, we're going to have to better the lives of everybody. We cannot pick and choose who the winners are, which is what Governor Snyder and his administration seem to think that they're very good at doing.
I've got a quick question, and then we have a caller on the line. But when you say, I guess, minimizing or eliminating any benefits of good behavior, now, the way I'm looking at it, and I guess there's many different aspects to it, is that this benefits whoever, the prisoners are producing some product in prison. So it seems like it serves the correctional facility, the prisons, to be able to keep people as long as they can. I know Theo and I had cited how in Philadelphia a judge had gave African American youth the maximum sentence because this was part of a ploy, and he had investments in a correctional, private correctional institution. So could this possibly be part of why Snyder is more retributive as opposed to conciliatory?
Well, the Republicans, as a general proposition, and this is certainly not to say that the Democrats are angels, because in my estimation they are not. But when it comes to Republicans, of course, they, as a general proposition, are more money-oriented, are more business-friendly, and they get most of their contributions from large business donors. So it only stands to reason, as you argue, that there would be an incentive for them to keep especially people who are younger, stronger, more mentally alert, in prison longer. So the argument that I've been making, Kabidi, for some years now is that the problem with America is that we have this creature that has a vote in everything that we do, and we don't even want to admit that the creature exists, and that's the creature of discretion. Anytime you have discretion in anything that you do, the laws can be applied unequally. Lady Justice will never be blind. Nothing in our community will be fair until we address, and Theo, you discussed it a moment ago, we need to have fair, honest, and balanced and truthful discussions with ourselves. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have truthful discussions about sexual harassment, about race, about equal pay, anything that has a benefit to the quote-unquote majority population that has most of the money. We don't want to talk about it. We have got to take the money out of our system and say, America is better than this. We have to fight for the continuation, the perpetuation of the ideals of freedom that are the cornerstone of our democracy. And until we decide that our democracy is more important than our personal interests, then we're going to continue to have this hodgepodge of unequal, unethical, unappreciated system of democracy that people around the globe are saying, you're not a real democracy, so why do you want to come and try and impose your viewpoints on us? You want to be about the business of nation building. You can't even keep your own nation together. So how can you come in and build one for me?
That's true. Then we got to talk about the importance of voting because of these issues. You said there's somebody on the line.
Yes. Hello, caller.
Okay.
You're on the air. Would you
about
share your name, how you're viewing us, please?
60 seconds.
Monday.
Hey, happy Monday.
Sylvia, Comcast 91.
Okay.
And hello to my two queens and my handsome king.
Happy Monday. What's up?
Yeah, I just got in, so I heard enough to just comment the fact that if we don't vote, that we keep putting in Hitler's duplicates. You know, we keep duplicating and allowing these people that infiltrate our political system.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, even the FBI will tell you that we're being infiltrated in our police departments with Nazis and skinheads. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing in your political system. You got these haters that's in seat to continue to do these draconian policies to keep the greedy, the rich, keep feeding their greed, and the list goes on. So it is important that people get educated, and when you make a vote, that you are not so blind to keep voting your own demise. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. That's one of the reasons we ask you to join Hood Research as we seek out as much information as we can to help us all make better and informed decisions. You know, though, the few things that we have been talking about points to the desperate need for people to participate in the election process. Because as it is right now, when you think about a committee of people in Washington, D.C., trying to turn back the hands of time, then it makes it urgent to explain to the people in the community how they can make a difference. They can make a difference. But I'm beginning to believe that there are some folk who are paid, my vote don't count, so I ain't gonna. They're getting paid to say that. You know, I'm really coming to that conclusion.
Well, there are people all over the airwaves, radio and television, who have a message that cause you to stop in your tracks and wonder what motivates them to say what they are saying. Mm-hmm. And you and I both know that there are paid operatives in the city of Detroit, and I have coined the phrase and do have a copyright pending on it that blackness is the color of your consciousness. It is not the color of your skin.
Oh, I like that. Say that again.
Blackness,
Say that again.
Blackness is the color of your consciousness. It is not the color of your skin.
I like that.
And that's why the quote-unquote powers that be can have all of these people on radio and television and coming to our community meetings and saying all of these off-the-wall things, hoping that somehow they get some traction. These people are paid operatives. They are the scum of our society. And it doesn't matter that they parade around in black skin and they wear very well-tailored suits, and they speak very articulately. And I must add that the articulation that these people possess, they possess on the backs of those of us who have gotten in the trenches and gotten real dirty fighting for them. They stand on our shoulders, and the appreciation, the respect, the gratitude, the loyalty that we get for it is for them to go to the dark side and become operatives of those people who have a counter message that is designed for the demise of our community. And the only thing that I have to say to them is, shame on you. And may God judge you accordingly.
Oh, I like that. But wait a minute. There are a few from time to time who do it free of charge, because they want to be vindictive, especially those who lose. They want to be vindictive. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. We are going to do this again. I want to let all of you know that this coming Thursday, which is April the 26th, we're going to be at Burt's. That's one of the most fun places to be. This Thursday, April the 26th, we're going to celebrate the birthday of none other than Deetta Wilcoxon. So share with your friends and family and coworkers, everybody, that we're going to be there Thursday. And 8 o'clock, probably from 8 until she falls asleep, right? 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, she sleeps. But anyway, we're going to be there at 8 o'clock this Thursday, enjoying the company of Deetta Wilcoxon. And we want you to join us. And the music starts at 8:30. So, yes, ma'am.
And I have told everybody to be there at 7, so I will stand corrected. And I will say on live TV that we are going to have musical entertainment by Theo Broden. She's singing Happy Birthday to me, whether she wants to or not.
Oh, my goodness.
She is going to sing Happy Birthday to me. Otherwise, I am going to become Winnie Mandela on her and tar and feather her at Burt's Warehouse.
Oh, Lord. Have mercy. 2727 Russell Street. And if you come at 7, since Deetta says she's going to be there, that's okay too. But we just want you to know that the entertainment starts at 8:30. And the meeting?
Well, in conclusion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, usually I have a statement, but I just want to say I went to a book stock sale yesterday at Livonia, and I was able to pick up this album by Jim Ingram, Drumbeat Commentary.
Oh, no,
Yes,
you
I'm so
did.
proud of it.
Oh, wow. I'm telling
And I
you.
will give you guys tips on that next week.
That's
Oh,
a classic.
absolutely. Oh, yes, it is. They only had one?
Yeah.
Oh, darn. Anyway, and as I so it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We ask you to join Hood Research as we seek out as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions. See you Thursday.